How you guys doing? This is Anthony Ganji, host of Tier Talk, and I want to go and give a part two to my report writing for correctional officers, and it's because Chaos Holloman, he put some very good thoughts in there that I felt I needed to add. So I want to thank you, Chaos, for getting those thoughts out there. If you go back to my first video, you'll see the comments below, but I felt the need to add these thoughts, and that's why I actually have my wife recording. I know right now she probably wants to go to bed, but me being OCD, I have to get this done. So again, the show is Tier Talk, guys. Stand by for my sponsors, and if you haven't already, guys, subscribe, interact, engage, and hit that bell. Every time I put a video up, you hit that bell, it'll notify you of each new video.
I wanted to attend a university that had an intelligence program. I wanted to look at problems different. I wanted to increase my critical thinking abilities. AMU offered those avenues to expand. Obtaining your degree as an adult, you're actually paying yourself and investing in yourself. You can't put a dollar on it, it's priceless. It's something that can never be taken away from you.
American Military University. Learn from the leader.
Being a corrections officer takes its toll on even the strongest individuals. The constant need to perform at the highest level, putting your life at risk in a hostile environment, and the mental scarring of traumatic experiences. 31% of corrections officers show symptoms of PTSD, and 66% of people with PTSD also suffer with a substance abuse problem. The Transformations First Responders program is specially designed to help veterans and officers heal from the grips of addiction and PTSD in a comfortable, supportive, and serene setting. You are not alone. If you have questions about the services we offer, give us a call at 866-762-8454 to get more information on this affordable and life-changing program.
Guys, thanks for coming back after the sponsors. Anthony Ganji, show is Tier Talk. Please subscribe, interact, engage, and hit that bell. Okay, so you guys remember the first part of the report writing for correctional officers, correct? What we wanted to do is make sure we did things concise, simple. Remember, we're not the only people that are reading it, so you want to stay away from that professional jargon that we use. And it's not your turn to tell people that you're an expert in the English language. Keep things simple, concise. Also, give the officer time to write their reports. I mean, this is key. The reports can make and break you. And we also discussed how the report should be written. Like, you want to, basically, you can discuss what happened, but you should be having those officers writing those reports on their own, because they can kind of influence each other. And at that point, you got to be very careful, because those reports come out exactly the same. It's going to put a flag up for investigators who are looking to check to see what really happened. So now I want to touch on two other things real quick, and this comes from Chaos. And again, if you look at the first video, look at the comments below. But the first thing I want to mention is that when you do use force, you need to explain on that report why you had to use force. Now, I know I said stay away from the why, but that's in regards to why the incident occurred. What I'm talking about is the use of force aspect. So you do need to explain why you had to use that force. And that means that you may have to explain why lesser levels of force could not have been employed. And that was a great point brought up by Chaos that I want to emphasize. And that will cover you. Remember, guys, people on the outside are reading this. They don't know our job. So you may have to spell out what type of force was used and why that force had to be used. And you may have to go through the lower level options that unfortunately did not work at that time and force you to take it up a notch. And that will help you guys, because remember, you're explaining it to the public. You're not explaining it to your own people, because eventually those reports will manifest its way out and you never know who's reading them. Also, if you got injured, you need to make note of that in the report. Even if the injury at that time isn't enough to take you out of work, you still want to make note of that injury. Because then let's say the next day something happens and your back does go out. Well, at least you can go back and say, hey, I noticed the day before when I had this incident, my back was feeling a little funny, but it wasn't enough to take me out of work, but I did write it on the report. And that's enough for management to look back and say, well, he did take note of it. This is probably definitely related to the incident. So that's one aspect. Also, guys, on another note, and again, this comes from Chaos, and I just want to add it to make it more complete. You got to know the policies in order to understand when they're broken. So if an incident does occur and it involves the breaking of a policy, make note of that in your report. Make note of what policy was broken and your actions after that, because that will help the disciplinary hearing officer make their decision, because sometimes they're not familiar with all the policies that we have. We could have some policies that are directed strictly by the government, but we also have some internal policies that we also have, some in-house rules that they may not be aware of. So you need to note those policies that have been broken, and that can help them make a decision. Plus, if it travels outward, you're spelling it out for them. You know, the people that may read it. These are the policies that were broken, and this is what had to be done. And that should be enough to help your report have that weight needed. So if inmate does something foolish, you're able to write that report, and the inmate's able to go where they need to go. But in closing, I got one more thing I want to mention. One more thing. Don't get too connected to the charges that you write. It's not personal. So if the inmate winds up beating the charge, it's okay. If they mess up again, fine, you'll get them again. Don't go hunting them down. Don't take it personal. It's not personal. You have a job to do. And if your charges are being thrown out, you know, it happens. You know, maybe we got to go back and figure out how we wrote those charges, or if it just happens to be the person that's doing the hearing, it happens, guys. But don't let that ever discourage you from doing your job. Always do your job. Do your part. And let the system decide where that goes. But in the meantime, don't get discouraged. Love you guys. Stay safe. The show is Tear Talk. Please subscribe, interact, and hit that bell.